must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
A very good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for joining us. This is Social Africa, away from our usual, the normal politics and the normal update on what is happening across Africa this afternoon. We're just going to change a bit just to speak about something that I feel is very important and has become very rampant, not just in Kenya, but is affecting youths across Africa and indeed across the board, across the globe. And this is the matters concerning mental health. And today, to help me advance this conversation, I'm joined by Anne Njeri Murithi.
Thank you very much for having me.
Welcome to the show.
Asante.
You were here yesterday.
Yes, I was.
You were to bring some baskets.
Unfortunately, I delivered everything before I was
before
here.
You were here. Okay. So maybe next time.
Yes.
So this matter of mental health, of course, just a quick definition of what mental health is. It is defined as the level of psychological well-being or an absence of mental illness, that is mental health. And it is also a state of mind, someone who is functioning at a satisfactory level of emotional and behavioral adjustment. So basically, this is a person that is healthy. But on the flip side, we have people that are not mentally healthy.
Yes.
So, and there has been an increase of such individuals in the society, especially the younger generation right now. And it is quite a worrying trend. What could be some of these reasons? I don't know, when you walk around and talk to people, some of the causes of increased level of mental unhealthiness.
Well,
basically.
I think like us, very young people, we are unable to accept our situations. We want to live other people's lives. Mm-hmm. So if we cannot manage that, if I cannot manage the lifestyle that you live, then it affects me, because I'm struggling to live your life. I'm struggling to live someone who is actually older than you, and so we are struggling we are competing a lot. So you end up getting affected mentally. So it's more or less, I'll say it's more, we are not living a real life. So if everyone was open and say, this is how I live, mm-hmm. I'm struggling in this way. So everyone, and in this era of social media, there's a lot of fakeness and everything. So if you're not real and I want to be like you, then mm-hmm. it's definitely going to affect by how I'm living, and it's going to affect me mentally.
And that is just on a social level, but on a deeper level, really. what could be some of the causes of why we're seeing a lot of things happen, these things happen? Of course, on the social level, we are afraid of our own realities, so we want to camouflage and live as though, of course, everything on social media is fake. So, and unfortunately, the people who buy into these images we see on Instagram and these fake holidays and things like that. And so a lot of younger people now, I see young girls. I used to host another women's show before, and I purposely had this show because of conversations I had with some young girls. Being a socialite is a career that a lot of young girls are now aspiring to have because they think it's a career.
Yeah.
Can you believe that?
Yes. I think we've not been raised, this generation, we are not being raised properly. I think folks are not like earlier on where guys were taught how to live and how to cope with things. Now today we have, I want to live how someone else lives. I want to live how my parents didn't live. So you end up getting into a situation where you're not comfortable in your space. And if you're not comfortable in your space, if you're not, you are not brought up right, it's going to affect you mentally, and you're going to live a life that's not yours. Like you said, socialites and everything. It's a career, and if
it shouldn't be embraced as a career. But young girls out there are beginning to think, oh, this is something I can do for a living. Actually, when I grow up, I want to be this person.
Yes. So
not that I'm condemning anybody who is a socialite. I mean, they're very rich and they're making it out there and they're endorsing products and all that. But outside of that,
I think it's proper to say it's wrong. Like,
well, yeah, maybe it's not something me and you will do.
So
do,
if you and I will say it's wrong, probably 2-3 ladies will listen to us and they wouldn't fall for it. So I think it's right for us to be real, say what is wrong, say what is correct, and I think people are looking at us. People are want to be. Maybe there's someone that you inspire. So if you condemn something that you find that you do not agree to it, then I think people will see it.
But you see, what I also have because I know we speak to a very huge different audience out there, so I know for sure that what works for me might not work for somebody else. Normally I'm very careful not to, because I don't endorse this, because I don't take this. I don't drink, but all my friends drink. Otherwise I'll be condemning all of them. So I'm normally very careful, because I cannot do something where I'm not, that is not what I would do. It's a free world. So if that's what they want to do, let them do. But I'm not here to judge anybody. So that's normally my stand. Like, you can do whatever you want to do. I don't do it, and it's fine. As long as it doesn't it does not hurt me. That's okay. But also now, on a very deeper level, outside of the social level, there are other factors also. And there has been this research that has shown that sometimes mental health is even hereditary. It follows sort of a lineage or something.
Yes, mental health. Yeah, of course. If it's very proper to check your mental, how your folks, you're probably someone who is older than you in your lineage was mentally. So I think it's very like any other disease. I know probably in my family there is diabetes. I'm very careful with that. So if it's something that we should be looking at, how are people at your before you? Is your parent affected by depression? Is the person before them affected by depression? So I think it's proper to, and like any other checkup, I always say this, like any other checkup, we should check our mental health. And it does not necessarily mean, I the other day I was talking to someone who was telling me that they lost a child, so the husband has been going through issues, and he's in denial, he's blaming himself, and he's actually having issues with his mental health, and he does not want to accept that it's an issue. So you just go to your local HOSI and just get checked. But it's so this is a wife who was suffering from the mental health.
The dad,
the man
was suffering from the mental health.
Yes.
Okay.
It's actually affecting him. So
has he been diagnosed to have mental health problems?
Not yet. So it does not.
Or she's assuming, the person is assuming, yes, because all the signs and symptoms are showing. Yes.
He's quiet. He doesn't talk.
He's withdrawn.
Yes. Okay. If he has to talk, he has to be drunk. So there's some of these things. He's trying to hide his pain. Fine, you've lost your child.
So the codependency to alcohol. So maybe he's an alcoholic as well.
Yeah.
If he has to drink to function.
Exactly. So if something has happened, deal with it. But again, get medical attention. Just like you'll get a cold and do it, just go. And I was advising the lady, tell him to go to a psychiatric institution rather than you go to just a normal hospital and you're given drugs without really knowing what is going on with you. So I think people should come and accept to have a checkup, mental checkup, to have to get to the mental institutions that deal with specifically psychiatry. Yeah.
All right, our viewers, I see Karen Court, you're watching us from Buffalo, New York, that is in the United States, and Michael Grunz, you're watching us from Germany. Guten Tag. I don't know, it's what, midday? Yes, it's afternoon there, so it's Guten Tag, it's good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. But also, what you've mentioned, the matter psychiatrists and seeking for help. This is something that is considered not very African. As you know, like say marriage therapy, like going to a therapist and sitting there and talking. It's not something that we have embraced. We look at it like this is so Western, this is such a white man's business. And that is why we see there has been a rise. And just yesterday, I think some young man, 25 years old, from Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, was he the one holding a knife and wanted to access the State House? Yes. Like, what level of mental problem is that? That is serious.
Well, that's a bit daring, you know.
Because a normally healthy person would know there will be repercussions if I even dare to do this.
Well, yeah, because I mean, if I don't know what led him to do that. I was trying to look at the story and see what really guts. Are they guts or because
those are beyond guts? Because one of our colleagues just here, I think we were having lunch, and he was showing me. He went and he's normally a very curious mind. His name is Jeff. So he took his phone and he went googling for this person on his Facebook, and he's like, okay, look, let's look at his older posts. So as I was going through that guy's Facebook page,
yeah,
and he's like, this is a person that is not very stable. Because even his sentiments and he sounded a bit extreme, and he sounded like a person who was actually crying for help or attention or something.
Most of the time, I think, and it's something that we should be men. There's an issue with men, and probably
there's an issue with men.
Yeah, there's an issue with men because chances are, if this guy, whatever the issue is, it's not been confirmed. It's a mental issue, but whatever it is, men have an issue. They do not talk. So what he goes to the other day there's a guy who killed a lady, and because what will make you go to that extreme? What will make you go to State House? That's
with all those signs,
yes,
that
exactly.
are normally prohibited area, like you can see all over the place. This is not a place you can't even get close to the fence. Yeah. Like, you're supposed to walk the other side of the road for your own good. So for him to even have dared to take a knife and try to climb the fence, the wall, and enter the State House, that tells you that person is not okay. And I went through his Facebook post.
Yes. He's been doing it he's been contemplating, he's been trying to do it. So
even his messaging, I think, is somebody that is disturbed and that was trying to cry for help and probably needed help.
And no one responded because he wouldn't have gone.
People didn't take him seriously, yes.
Because I always ask myself, how many times have you been there for someone who needed you? That's a question. And so if this person needed people probably joked about it when they saw the post. Now he has done it, he's being condemned. And so I mean, and I will speak to men. Can we talk about our issues? Can we talk and we do not have to live, and men are very weird because they have issues that affect them, but they do not speak about it.
I think naturally men are not very easy to talk about things. They're not easy to open up. You know, us ladies, it's easy for me to call my friend and say, you cannot believe what this person did, or you cannot believe how I'm feeling right now. Like, it's easy for me to just call my girlfriend and be like, you know what, let's meet after work and just have coffee. You know, I have a lot in my mind I need to talk about. But it's not very easy for men. Naturally, they are like that because talking and breaking down and being vulnerable, for a long time it was not considered manly. It is until just recently that men are slowly embracing. And just the other day I was watching another documentary for BBC did, I think I watched it on their website, about the number of abuse. Even men are abused in this country.
Yes.
Men suffer in silence in this country, and not just in this country and across the world. So I think for a long time it was considered you are supposed to be a man up. You're not supposed to cry. You're not supposed to show your emotions. You're not supposed to show your vulnerability. And so it's just now that we're realizing things are getting out of hand. So you realize that men are more affected with the mental health problems because they don't talk. They're not wired like that. They'd rather go and drink, or they'd rather just withdraw and be quiet.
And we're actually teaching our small boys that men...
I have a son, but I teach him differently. My son is 12, yes.
Because I remember I was dealing with I rescue street boys. And I remember I had a case where that boy used to be sodomized. And the rest of the boys, I had a rescue center, and the rest of the boys knew about it. But this boy was behaving weird. We didn't really know what was happening. But he couldn't talk. So you're wondering, mbona ananyamaza, why is he not talking? Why is not even eating? He's trapped. Yeah. So I had to intervene, and the rest of the boys laughing about it. This guy is going through this.
How old were they at the age?
He's around 14.
Yeah.
So I mean, he was being sodomized by someone who is older than him. So so I think we're teaching and I think this is Africa. We're teaching our men not to that it is not manly to talk. It's not manly
just in
to
Africa.
cry.
This is just a global thing. I think it's a crisis. If you need to cry, you cry.
Men don't cry. So you're telling you're telling your little boy to cry.
You open up. If you need to cry, you cry. If you need to tell me, you tell me. If you need to break down, because a healthy person, that is, you have emotions and you have feelings and you have to express them, and they come out whichever way they come out. So they should be allowed to do that. Joseph Otto Manasseh, thank you so much. You're saying these days, if you talk more about things in social media, the new generation think that you are well informed about all the knowledge. The reading books have gone off track. That is very true. And if you explain things from books, they actually cannot figure it out. So social media has affected education so much. I think Joseph here has a point. And I think the younger generation, they're called the microwave generation. They just want things very quick and fast. It's not like when we were growing up, some of us, Sue Onyon, you're saying you're watching. Don Pedro, you're saying you're watching all the way from Biafra land. So today we just diverted a little bit from our usual politics. We'll come back with it later with Dr. Matsanga at another show later on today. But right now it's Social Africa, and we're looking at mental health and particularly depression. Depression is one of the common mental disorders. There's depression, and then you have anxiety, and then also eating disorder, and we have substance abuse, and we have attention deficit disorder. All that fall under mental disorders. But let's talk about depression and how much it is contributing to the suicidal cases we see today. Or to the murders. Here, somebody has murdered the wife. Wife has, the other day, I think yesterday we were talking here with the Dr. Matsanga when he was saying the moral fabric has really, when a man killed his wife over lunch, he came back and the lunch was not ready, and he decided, you know what, I'm going to murder you.
I think men, and it's in the relationship circle. Men are acting up their threats. Many times, I know in the relationship, I think you've seen around, men threaten, I'll do this. Then they actually
No, that is not normal.
No,
if you're around a person, or you are with a person who even threatens, that is not normal, and we should not normalize some of these things. I'll beat you, I'll kill you. No, run for your life.
They're actually actualizing it. Yes. They're actualizing it. And if someone tells you, I'll kill you tomorrow, they will.
Yes, they will.
What do you do? And
you run for your life.
And we're actually in a society. I think we're in a society where we are told, as in marriage, don't go away. Don't fight for your marriage. But at the end of the day, you're going to be killed. So if you have to run for your life, run for your life. I read somewhere you'd rather be a child, you'd rather go home as a
single mother
than
or a divorce, or come back in a coffin. I think I read that too. Yes. And while you're speaking, that was coming across in my mind.
Yeah, because I think we need to tell our ladies, because ladies are the ones who are being
no. I told you just a while ago. Documentary showed that was 2 weeks ago, done by the BBC, especially men in a certain place in this country who are battered by their wives, who are going through serious mental disorders. So it's only that men don't speak.
But men, yeah.
It's because us women, it's easy for us to just, but men are suffering. So we cannot sit here and say it's only women who are the victims. No. Statistics have shown differently.
Yeah. All right. I mean, there are more cases of women being battered.
The ones that are reported.
Yes.
Yes.
The ones that are reported
Yes.
than men who are battered. And I think, and like I said, the men are told, if a man comes and tells you, you know, I was beaten up by my wife.
Yes. It's not very manly.
Yeah, so they won't talk about it. So I think, and that's why the other day I think in Murang'a, Kenya, where I saw
actually
man,
the BBC,
the man who was beaten,
yes,
the air by a woman, and it's no more. It's people are not condemning the woman.
People have been desensitized, like they don't even care. Like, how does a woman beat you?
Yeah,
they're strong women.
They're strong women. So people are not condemning the woman. Why? And I think I think we need a platform where men are told the truth, how to live, how to handle issues. It is okay if you're beaten, run for your life. You don't have to die. And let's have a conversation around that. And I think more and that's why they are always bringing the issue of the boy child. The other day, like let me give a personal example. When I was dealing with street boys, when we were rescuing them, the biggest number, and even in the country you can check, the biggest number of street population are boys. Why? Is it that women we are more protected? And like in my case, most of the boys will say, you know, I did something wrong. So if your son does something wrong, what do you tell him?
You just correct him and life goes on.
Yes, if they'll threaten and tell you, I'm going, and the parent doesn't really care, they'll go. And no, that's why we have an increase of boys are not even being educated enough, you know. So if many dropouts in schools are boys, because there's peer pressure, there's good life out here. So I mean, we should have a conversation around boys. It's sad, and every day we say it's true. Probably there's a bigger number of women than there is for men. But again, we have very many irresponsible, or I'll say that, because we have very many irresponsible men out there. Drunkards, they are more than women. Then that's again decreases the number of responsible. When we're talking about statistics and why we are saying that men are more, I think there are more men who are disadvantaged. They are
in what way? And when we say we have more irresponsible men, I think we have to be very careful when we're throwing some of these words out there. That having more irresponsible men compared to women in terms of what?
I'll give a case
based
scenario.
On what? Yes.
I'll give a case scenario on my area of interest.
Yes.
So
Okay.
The street population.
Okay.
And drunkards and everything. Like we were the mentally challenged, most of the time it's actually through alcohol, drugs, and everything. What does that mean? They're not as responsible as we would want them to be. And so we get an increase of them than the men we are trying to compare on why we have more men than we have more women. So, and again, we are educating the girl. And I saw somewhere we are educating the girl, but we are not preparing the man for the educated girl. So again, it's an issue of,
I think for a very long time, there were efforts and concerted efforts, very particularly towards advancing the agenda of women and making sure that the girl child had a same platform and the playing field became very fair for both men and women because of so many reasons, especially here in Africa. There's a lot of girls in these parts of this country who get married off at the age of 11. Some girls who don't go to school, and that was happening earlier days. Across Africa especially, girl child was not considered to be something they want to take and invest in. So that's why there was a concerted effort towards the girl child to make sure the girl child has equal opportunities in life in terms of education and opportunities, right? And so while they were empowering this girl child, somebody must have forgotten about the boy somewhere. So when this girl comes in and she's empowered, she has the education and she's okay. And when you want to, they say when you want to go, when you're ready to go get married, we'll have a bachelorette party. Your aunties will come and I don't know who, and they'll tell you go be this wife. This is what is expected of you. I don't know what they do at the bachelor's party or the man. I don't know what they teach the men. I have no idea. But as women, somehow we, So when you come, sometimes the guy is not prepared, or you've been told you go do this and that and all that, and the guys sometimes may not, don't even have an idea, and you come here and you're empowered, you work, you have your money, you're okay, you're stable, and from where he sits, so from the background he has, a man is supposed to be this. So we have a place where people are confused, and there seems to be a change of roles, which I think shouldn't be the case, because, shouldn't be the case at all. That's how nature wanted things to be, and so I'm a Christian, so I look at things sometimes differently. But also now, there were reasons why there were concerted effort to help this girl child, to make sure they have a level playing field, which still lacks, especially when you look at our political scene today. It's very difficult. That's why we have very few women in parliament, and that informed the affirmative action, 2/3 gender role. Okay, that's politics. We won't even go into it right now. But it is because of certain reasons. But also, how can we bring along our men together in this journey of moving forward?
I think men who can are unable to be mentors. We need mentors, because I'm sure you're probably a mentor to your son, but we need you need a man figure to
not a man figure. He has a man figure,
exactly.
Not in quotes.
All right,
we cannot do that.
So,
yes. So here's the problem. He's a boy. All right, he's a boy, and that kid loves me to bits. But when he's with me and when he's with a dad, those are completely two different relationships. When he's with the father, you can see he's truly in his element as a boy. So that has to be encouraged.
So yeah, every man, I think every boy should have a man figure.
If you're a single mother, it is advised that you get even an uncle or friend or somebody. Yes.
There are things
because I cannot mentor a man.
Yeah, there are things you cannot tell your son.
I'm a woman. I only know how to be a woman.
Exactly.
Yes.
There are things you cannot tell your son. So I think men should come up. Men who can be mentors, and men, like you said, in the political scene, let's be good role models to men, because there are people who are looking up to. There are boys who are looking up to these people, and I don't know why people idolize politicians, so to speak. So if you're not of good character, our boys will go astray. So we need mentors, we need good role models as men, and men should, speak up.
All right, Joseph Ottoman, you're saying it's worst abroad, women throwing men out of families, and you're left with no choice to leave your children. Men are suffering here so much. It is the case. So men actually are suffering so much. Kimani Watu, very nice to see you this afternoon. Umepotelea wapi? Good afternoon to you. You're watching us from Naivasha. Thank you so much for joining. So today we just diverted a little bit from our normal politics. We'll come back later with Dr. Matsanga and Mr. Tawish, and we'll look at issues affecting Africa and governance and all that, that we do normally. But today we just diverted a little bit, and we just on Social Africa, and we're trying to look at this scourge that is really has become very alarming, and the statistics have shown that there is an increased cases of suicide, increased cases of murder, and this mostly is advised by the increased number of mental health disorders, and so what are just some of the symptoms that, like you mentioned here before, somebody that is suffering from what is considered a mental disorder. So what are some of the symptoms that people should look out for in case, you feel that this person needs help? But what are some of the things that people should look out for?
I think the one of the best way to see is watch the person close to you and see how they are acting, and and in case there's something that has happened and that thing affected them in a way, it's very proper to check on them. One, withdrawal, denial. You're in denial. You don't eat. You want to be alone, and I think most of us have been in a situation where we've personally, I'm an introvert, so I know when I know that if I'm alone, I know when my thoughts are up there, and I'll get into something that is not very good. So people withdraw. They do not want. I don't want to be around you. I do not want to be around my family. Anger. You're very. And there are very many cases of bipolar. You're extreme angry. You're moody and everything. So if these are the very small things that accumulate and become something very big, and you get into depression. So just get to watch someone who is close to you, see what they are going through. If they are withdrawing from you, they are not eating. Lack of sleep. I know one of the drugs they give us. It's a drug that helps you sleep. So if someone who is mentally challenged can go on without sleeping for a very long time, so you can check out some of the symptoms and see.
Mentally challenged or has a mental disorder.
Yes.
Is it the same thing or is it different?
It's the same thing.
Mentally challenged and mental disorder.
I think it's more or less the same thing.
Okay. She said that, not me, but please check the facts out there. So anyway, on the symptoms that she just mentioned, also there's a feeling of being down and sad, and you get confused when you're thinking. Really, there's no that coherent thinking, and ability to concentrate is highly affected. Also, you become very excessive in terms of worries and fears, and the extreme mood changes, and Anne mentioned as well withdrawal from friends and activities. So anything that was exciting this person, they're not excited anymore. Any hobby that you are actively engaged in before, they don't do that anymore. And also significant tiredness and very low energy person, and inability to cope with daily problems. Now, this I think is a okay. I'll just come to that. Let me just finish this list. And then alcohol and drug abuse. If they were drinking, now they start drinking in excess and abusing alcohol. And also, if you're married or you're in an active relationship, the sex drive changes, and also this person starts having suicidal thoughts. So let's just go to inability to cope with daily problems. We know this cost of life now has skyrocketed, and young people, and this is a fact, increasingly cannot cope with the daily demands of life in this country. For instance, the lack of jobs, the lack of opportunities. You wake up every morning, corruption is making headlines or newspapers. This and this is happening. You need to take care of your family, you need to eat, you need to take care of yourself. You find that they can no longer they're not able to cope with the daily demands of life. How can this be rectified?
I think the best advice I'll tell, live within your means.
Sometimes you don't have no means. You're just trying to have a basics. You're not able to meet that. And most of these people is not because they want to be Instagram superstars or they're copying whatever. Very few of these cases actually stems from there. But there are people who actually have serious challenges, even getting tea in the morning. And that is the reality, unfortunately.
Well, I think young people, and there's a lot of joblessness, and
so you cannot tell a jobless person to live with their means. They don't have any means. So now what?
Well, if try do something. I'll say try do. We are. Personally, I'm not comfortable at my space. Everyone is not. You want to be better. Everyone wants to be better. But if you can, please live within your means. Move with your own small pace. When you get there, you'll get there. So let's contain what we can. Let's live with what we can. Let's live actually with what we have, and get help if you can. And it's when you say people, they're actually people who do not have means. So
no, they don't. That is the reality. And that is the majority of the reality of a lot of young people. And if you look very keenly, these people on that have committed suicide, and nobody was trying to be like Kim Kardashian. These are people that are dealing with real life situations. Yeah, so it's not everything that social media pressure. Fine, that must have, but not so much. Sometimes it's serious than just these things we see, the flimsy things we see, and the shiny things we see on social media. But of course, that has played a part in it. Sue Onyon, you're saying true. Sometimes people don't even have means to live. Yes, very true. And Israel Williams, you're saying good afternoon, brothers and sisters. Good afternoon to you. And you're saying support Biafra referendum. Israel, just wait in our next show. We'll get into what we do every day here all right, into the politics, and we look at matters Biafra and other things that are making headlines across Africa. And we have a very interesting topic later on with Dr. Matsanga and Tawish. So I hope you can join us then, and then we can talk about Biafra. But this afternoon, Israel, I don't know what you think. What are your thoughts about the high rising cases of mental unhealthiness? Because mental health means you're a person who is functioning in a very satisfactory level emotionally, and also behavioral adjustment. You're well. So if you're not well, then you're mentally ill. So today we are looking at that, and in particular we are looking at depression and how much it is contributing to the cases, the suicide cases you're seeing, and also the murder cases you're seeing now. There's an increased rate of people killing each other, couples just killing each other, or it's very sad, especially here in Kenya. There have been rampant cases of that. Even those students, one of them was from Jomo Kenyatta, and the other one was from Egerton. You remember that case that happened at Juja? He just killed her and then hanged himself.
Oh yes. Men, I mean, people, we are unable to pick. We are unable to handle rejection, and most of these university murders are around relationships. How if you're left today, how should you handle it? It's normal. And I always say relationship rejection and everything, it's like death. At some point in your life, someone close to you will die. How will you handle it? So if the person, at some point, the person probably you're with, if it's not your life partner, probably they'll leave you, then you should be able to handle it. So be very sober when having these conversations around rejection. And it's never that serious. It's never that serious. They are not your brothers. Just don't let them get into your head, and it's never that serious.
It's never that serious. Life is never that serious, but for some people it's a matter of life and death. But also I think through the conversation we mentioned about people seeking for treatment, and just the same way we have not fully embraced the concept of marriage counseling or this counseling or things like that. We consider it very, very foreign. It's not us as Africa. It's not in our culture. But also there's been an issue of alcoholism. It is until very recently that actually people, I know somebody very close to me who sought help last year, had serious issues of alcoholism, and he got well. He was almost getting, actually it's his job that gave him an ultimatum and told him, if you do not go seek for help, you'll be fired. Because this person could go to work, tick in the morning, he's in, and then he'll leave the office, go drink. So that is an illness. But it is until very recently that people started considering even alcoholism an illness. Is it because we don't take matters mental illness very seriously? We don't consider it as something that we should even go to the hospital to get help for? And what is it with our attitudes toward such?
I think Africans, we've not accepted that a mental issue, depression is a health issue, because I personally see a therapist if I have an issue, because it is, I need my mind okay. So and if you tell a person to seek medical attention in regard to their mental issues, they'll probably think they are going mad. And I think we need to get comfortable around the topic of mental health, and it's seek help if you can. You don't necessarily have to be a mental case, so
like the ones at Mathare Mental Hospital.
I advise, I take my patients to Mathare. If I tell a person, you have an issue, go to Mathare, they'll think, no,
you're crazy. You're already crazy. No. Yes.
I get if I have an issue, I get my therapy, or I get checked there. So, and it's very easy nowadays because there are medical covers to handle this. We don't pay attention to it. So let's have a conversation around mental. It's okay as you go to, if you have a flu, you can go to hospital. If you have a mental issue, go to hospital, get checked. Yeah.
So people should stop this stigma that surrounds the mental health.
It's okay. It's okay to have your thoughts all over. It's okay to to withdraw. It's okay. It's okay. We're having issues. Everyone has their issues, and at some point you'll struggle with them. So just get checked.
Except it's not okay when it becomes now extreme, when it goes beyond the normal. I'm just having an anxious day. You find that the anxiety is just very persistent, and the depression is creeping in slowly. So yeah, and when you feel like it's affecting your normal life,
yes,
then that is the time you should go and get some help.
Yes, so it's okay. Get checked, and it's very easy nowadays because you operate. NHIF pays for everything, so it's very easy to get checked and get your medical.
All right, Anne Jerry, it was a pleasure to have you on the show today. So hopefully we can do this another time when you bring the bags, because we were waiting for them.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Africa. We will be coming up just a bit in later with our normal politics, and we have a very exciting topic. I can't remember exactly. Let me see. Let me just let me prepare you for what to expect in our next show. Does political perception create conflicts in Africa politics, and what does that do to the citizenry of Africa? So that is a very interesting conversation that I'm looking forward to engage in together with Tawish and Dr. Matanga later on in our next broadcast, and we will alert you on what time that will happen. But for now, I want to thank you so much for watching, and thank you for your company and your valued company, of course, this afternoon. Until our next broadcast, I've been with Anne Jerry. I am Miriam Mugutu. I'll see you later.
Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.